Hey, this is Kevin Stoda. Welcome to the Kevin Stoda channel. And today I'm going live because I really want to talk about the global assault on asylum by simply reading the message from our friends at the Center for Victims of Torture. They've written, the U.S. must lead the world back to embracing the right to seek asylum. There's something that often gets lost in the unending political battles over immigration policy in this country and around the world. Anyone fleeing violence, persecution, or torture has a legal right to seek asylum in America and anywhere. That right is anchored in the 1951 Refugee Convention, when the international community rose to the occasion after World War II, where tens of millions of people were refugees and displaced all over the world, and during the Cold War that followed, the conflicts thereof. It had been affirmed in the national laws since then of many nations, including the United States, to follow this convention in the legal framework of our own countries. But today, as the world grapples with the worst global refugee crisis since the Second World War, the international community is not rising to the moment. Rather than strengthening or even simply recognizing the right to seek refugee status or asylum, country after country is ignoring, weakening, or undermining the practice and the ability for people to do so. The tragic result, the right to seek asylum is becoming a hollow right across nation after nation through much of the world. Once upon a time, the United States, a nation made of immigrants, would have led the fight to defend the right to seek asylum. But not today. We are instead joining other countries in slamming, they're shaming us, slamming the door shut. That was glaringly obvious during the Trump years, when the administration implemented cruel policies, including family separation, the atrocious remains in Mexico policy, and the Title 42 policy, which finally ended only a month or two ago, that used the COVID-19 pandemic as cover or an excuse to summarily block asylum seekers from entering our country. While candidate Joe Biden promises to restore our moral standing in the world during his election campaign and our historic role as a safe haven, he promised that too, for refugees and asylum seekers, his action as president have fallen far short of those words and promises. In fact, the Biden administration has in many ways embraced the Trump administration approach to the southern border. The Biden administration did not fight hard enough to end the Title 42, which continued until, as I said just a couple months ago, and resulted in more than 10,000 asylum seekers being forced to wait in dangerous border areas of Mexico for well over 2 years, excuse me. They've been subjected to murder, torture, kidnapping, and rape. Now, I want to continue by reading the last little bit about it. When Title 42 ended in May, the Biden administration replaced it with new rules that make refugees basically ineligible for asylum. Ineligible. But asylum seekers and refugees, many of whom are torture survivors, do not make the decision to flee their homes lightly. I've argued with even some good Christians about this. They believe that even if the Bible says sanctuary is the rule, they ignore it in their belief systems. Anyway, their journey, the refugees that is, to find safety is often as perilous as the dangers they face at home. Turning them away is morally reprehensible. The Center for Victims of Torture is defending asylum seekers on a number of different fronts in this country. Their advocating team is working with allied organizations to oppose the crackdown on the right to seek asylum and to advance for far-reaching legislative approaches, including the Refugee Protection Act, which would put compassion at the center of our immigration policy. It should be at the center of our immigration system, right? It has been estimated that 44% of the refugees living in the USA are torture survivors. Get that, 44%. So we are also sharing the stories and real life experiences of our clients. So go to their website. That's the Center for Victims of Torture, and read their stories. In the meantime, let's really understand refugees have the right to this asylum. It's a moral right dating back to biblical times. Refugees have the right to, Jesus had to flee with his family when he was just a baby to Egypt. This is a right that is well known around the world for millennia. And Americans who are ignoring it are hurting America. They're going to hurt the generations of our children after. And the natural mixing of a well-mixed American culture is going to be hurt, and we're going to lose a lot of our capability to gain respect in the world if we lead this kind of anti-immigrant asylum seeker practice into the future. You know, our young people don't want it. Most of the young people under 30 and 40s know what's wrong, and they've read the history books, unlike some of the adults who never did or have ignored what they read in the history books. There's also the young people who've read the Bible, and they know that the Bible promotes sanctuary. Even David had to get sanctuary many times when he was running away from Saul. All right, so the record is clear. Americans, Christians, get out there and support asylum for all who need it, starting right now. Anyway, this is Kevin Stoda. I hope you enjoyed the Kevin Stoda channel. I'm going to figure out how to turn off my camera right now, but I do hope you like this and share this reading of mine from the Center for Victims of Torture as soon as you can with others. Thank you. Anybody else want to talk? I'm looking. This is what I'm looking out to. Anyway.